What's up, guys? Tracy and I just finished building our 2002 Honda TRX 400EX engine. And now she's spending a lot of time in the office doing the editing to go through all this footage to kick that video out. So that leaves me a little bit of free time, if you want to call it that, in the studio to do whatever I want. And it's been requested by a few of you that, well, you want to see, well, what tools do I personally use to do these builds. So let's open up my main toolbox and I'll take you through a tour of that. So let's go. Now, I'm not sure you can see all of these different labels, but it's important for me to be able to get to them quickly so I don't even have to think about, where I need to head for a particular tool. Top shelf, let's start with it. Screwdrivers. A lot of them, anywhere from your standard sizes here, a little bit longer lengths here, some of the specialty ones and the micro screwdrivers over on this side. But here's the one I really want to show you. A JIS standard, and that is critical when you're going to be working on Japanese motorcycles or ATVs or side-by-sides, because that tip is just a little bit different than your standard. Now that angle may not look like much, but trust me, if it isn't dead on, it'll end up stripping it. So you definitely need to pick up a set of the JIS standards if you're going to work on Japanese machines. Kind of an oddball drawer here. Everybody has one of those. This is a combination of different oil filter wrenches along with a thread chase set. Now, if you do not have one of these chase sets, I highly recommend it. I mean, a lot of the builds that we do, we send off the cases to have work done on them. Sometimes we'll vapor blast them and paint them, and that leaves all kind of debris inside of the threads themselves. Now, you can use a tap and die set to do this, but I don't recommend it. This particular set, it is designed to go in and clean the threads and not try to cut new ones. So definitely need to add that one to your toolbox. Next, another kind of oddball drawer here. This is just a collection of different lights that I use along with some specialty batteries, especially for my torque wrenches. There's different sizes and, well, they have to be powered because they are electronic. Next, we're getting into my Torx and Allen bits for the most part, and there are some standard sockets along with some larger impact sockets that just wouldn't fit in that socket drawer further down. Now, the ones of note here are not only the longer extended type Allens, as well as your regular Torx, as well as your inverse Torx right there. Next, the electrical drawer. And this one, as you can guess, I've got a digital multimeter, as well as a couple of different just regular old test lights. Now, if you've watched any of my electrical diagnostic videos, you can do a lot of probing and figuring out with just a test light, so you don't have to have the digital multimeter. But let's face it, they are not that expensive, and you don't need a high-end one to get a good result. All right, back over to this side. Thread locker sealant adhesives. Now, this covers the majority of the manufacturers and what they recommend for sealing up the cases. And I don't know about you, but if I've gone all the way down and I'm resealing a case, I'm going to use exactly what the manufacturer is suggesting. And for the most part, I've got it sitting right here to handle that job. Highlighters, big believer in them. Bunch of different colors, bunch of different thicknesses. This is where I take my notes as I go through and do a build. Any information that I need to keep up with as I'm either tearing something down or putting it back together or calculating a shim size. This is the drawer I go to gather all that information. Next, measuring devices. Digital caliper, if you need to be more accurate, a micrometer, both digital. temp gauge, a couple of different tape measures. Why? Because this one's in metric. It's just easier for me to deal with that versus the standard. Feeler gauges, like 3 different sets depending on the different angles that I may need to get into. That one, excellent at checking the valve lash. Gets in there easy without pushing it at an angle. And we've got a set of valve adjustment tools, all from Motion Pro, depending on what type of setup that you're working with. And in the back, tried and true plastic gauge. Can't go wrong. The green, that's going to cover 99% of the tolerances that you're going to be faced with. Next, pliers. Do I need an entire drawer for pliers? Well, that covers a lot of distance in here. Anywhere from vice grips to shears to circlip, I mean, and even over to the different clamps for your CV joints, electrical, mechanical, pinchers, I mean, you name it, it's all in this particular drawer. And we go in here quite often. Next, this one's going to be impressive. This is probably the most expensive drawer in the whole toolbox because that's going to be sockets, ratchets, torque wrenches, you name it. Now, for the most part, I use Snap-on for ratchets and torque wrenches, but everything else in here is either Craftsman or gear wrench. Either one of those, they're just tried and true. And you can go ahead and spend the money if you want for the Snap-on equivalent, but I've been using these for years now, and they're holding up to the task. So, my opinion, spend your money on the torque wrench and the ratchets. As you can see, I've got a very wide range in this drawer. Now, this one, this is kind of an extension of the one below it. This has my smaller boxed end wrenches along with a swivel type. And who doesn't need a 2-foot adjustable wrench? Actually, I use that more often than I want to admit. If you watched enough of my videos, you know. Next, picks, drifts, punches, files. This is the drawer where you're beating things into submission or trying to file them back straight. Now, another important drawer, box end wrenches. And we've got a full set of standard, and then I've got another set of ratchet type. Brushes, a wide range because you'll need this much to break off all the crust that's usually encapsulating whatever you're working on. Speaking of beating things into submission, this drawer, hammers, pry bars, clamps, everything in here well used, as you can tell. Full set of drill bits as well as different burrs when you're trying to get things straightened back up. And believe it or not, especially when you're talking aftermarket accessories on side-by-sides, a multitude of different hole saws. You need a pathway to get through some of those plastics sometimes. Now, is this one really necessary? Well, it is if you're going to do any upholstery work, which has happened a few times. This drawer, a little bit disorganized, but hey, fire me. That's where you're going to have all your drivers and drills and, oh, good grief, I'll just bring out a few of them here. Cut off wheels. As you can tell, I'm kind of a Milwaukee fan. Even heat guns. So all of those get stored down in this location. Craftsman in Milwaukee. Now, I did have DeWalt for a while, but I hate to admit it, I think Milwaukee's a little bit better. Last drawer. Oh. This is where I've got chargers, jump boxes, battery testers. They're all down here. Now, do I need 4 different battery chargers? No, that's just an evolution of 10 years worth of collecting these. My weapon of choice, that guy right there. And honestly, sometimes it's a little too smart, but it definitely is what you need when you're dealing with, well, the higher level of sophistication of today's batteries. Very good piece of equipment there. Oh, we skipped over the top shelf. That's where all my chargers are for the different tools I've got down below. When I can get away with it, when I'm just working on something where there's no copyright infringement, a little bit of music in the background. Other stuff that you probably don't have are all the different batteries that I use for the microphones and chargers for that. Oh, new acquisition. I've spent so much time over at that blast cabinet, I almost went deaf. So I finally broke down and got some ear protection. But of course, I had to buy it with Bluetooth. So why not listen to music when you're blasting an engine case? What the heck? And since I was in the safety section, how about an actual pair of glasses instead of just the ones I'm wearing? These guys, I've got 4 of them. Big believer in these things, especially when you're working on a side-by-side. You drop a screw or a bolt, goes down under the seat, pop, pull it right back up. Save yourself a bunch of heartache with that. Oh, and not to mention maybe you drop something down in an engine you're building. Not that I've ever done that. That'll get you out of trouble quickly. All right, guys, one last tool that is not actually inside the toolbox, but is essential for getting these engines put back together. I've always got the laptop open to Partzilla.com, to whatever exploded diagram that I'm working on, because that is my roadmap to get these put back together. Well, all right, kids, there you go. That's everything in at least my primary toolbox. Now, I do have a couple of other boxes with a bunch of specialty stuff. One dedicated entirely to all the Motion Pro special tools that you can get. And I think I ordered the whole catalog. So if you're working on your machine, you need a special gear puller or flywheel puller, go check them out. They probably have it. Well, that's going to do it for this video, and we will see you in the next. Y'all have a great day. Think that's enough to chew on?